The hospital administration rather, deny those allegations and insist that all is well in Kenya's largest teaching and referral hospital. We discuss this disturbing topic up next. Also later on in the program, Eric Kiraithe, the government spokesperson, will be joining us in studio to talk about the government's position on several issues affecting Kenyans at this moment. He'll be talking about matters security, health and governance, just to name a few. This being one interview you do not want to miss from 10 a.m. And finally, we will also discuss the American President Donald Trump's first year in office and the impact it has had on Kenya, if any. How has the world changed since he took over about a year ago? Find out later on in this program. And of course, we value your feedback on this program, on all topics that we'll be discussing. 22422 is our SMS line, and on social media as well, use the hashtag Citizen Weekend, or Citizen Extra, rather, I beg your pardon. And let's get straight into it. We begin our discussion by talking about matters Kenyatta National Hospital. And to get the views of someone who actually toured the hospital this weekend, we are now joined live from Mombasa County by Nairobi County Woman Representative Esther Passaris, who, as part of women legislators, toured that hospital over the weekend. Honorable Passaris, can you get me loud and clear? Good morning.
Yes, I am. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Getting you loud and clear.
Thank you very much, and thank you for giving us a couple of minutes of your time. You are part of a group of women parliamentarians who toured KNH on Saturday. Tell us, what were some of your concerns after visiting the institution?
Well, I mean, the thing is, I've been in and out of Kenyatta from the time I got elected, and even before that. The concerns was to actually, it was like a fact-finding mission, to actually look at whether it's true that the women walk a long distance, whether the areas that they walk are not lit well, whether the areas that they walk are not secure. You know, what is the system of security for the women? Because when you're saying that women at 3 o'clock in the morning, that's what the allegations were mostly in the morning. Some of them were professional, where a doctor can walk into a room. If you go by what was going on in the social media, for me, when we went round, we obviously were wanting to understand the plight of the women that have given birth. But for me, it's not just the women that are in maternity, it's all the women, or anybody for that matter, whether it's a child. You know, it's not just women that get abused. You get men also getting abused. You get women that might not even be there for delivery, and you also have children that can get abused. So the question is, what is the system in place in Kenyatta to ensure that no one is abused while they are in that vulnerable state seeking medical attention? The tour was, we were allowed throughout the hospital with cameras, of course not in the security area. We know that they've got surveillance cameras now. The areas are manned. It's only 30% of the project that has been commissioned. Actually, it's not even commissioned, it's been implemented but not commissioned. 70 cameras as a whole. Some of the areas we found when we were looking at the cameras at night were not completely lit. The hospital has said they're going to address that almost immediately. Of course, budget allowing and funds being provided. We spoke to a lot of women. We all went into the various sections of the hospital and spoke to the women. None of the women that we spoke to at that particular time said that they actually encountered any sexual abuse, but they did mention that when they walk to the nurseries from their wards, they walk in pairs. Now, that is something that they found already happening at the hospital, where people say, do not walk at night alone. Some were scared because the mortuary attendants apparently really scare them at night, you know. So we never visited the mortuary, and it's something I intend to do when I come back, because there are also people that do a service to the community, and we cannot just blacklist and brand them as horrible people, because they do a valuable service to the society. So for me, I really, my appeal is we allow Kenyatta and the police, the DCIO, to actually investigate this matter. They should go to all these social media groups that have been posting something. It's very difficult for a woman to come out and say, yes, I was raped. There's still a lot of stigma associated with it. We need witness protection. And then also, if it's an incident that happened a long time ago, it might be difficult to prove it. You see, sexual offenses are tough. So my appeal is that if they come out right now, because they're talking about it, there's a pain that's associated with it. If they come out and identify themselves, even if it's to go to, you know, there's a phone number for gender-based violence, which is 1195. If they call there, then, you know, myself, Sakaja, we've offered that, you know, we'll be there. The Kewopa chair is also offered. We want to actually meet these women, understand what exactly happened. Was it a patient? Was it a doctor? Was it a mortuary attendant? We want to see if there's a pattern, you know, and that's where we can, the investigation. Maybe you can even identify the person who did it, you know. So for now, without a complainant, it stays an allegation. Okay, which was actually going to be my question. So for now, no complainant has come to either you or the Nairobi senator after your visit on Saturday, where you made an appeal. We actually heard several of you saying, listen, if you've undergone an incident here, reach out to us. No one has communicated with your officers or sent a message as of now. No one has, but we're still addressing the concerns that have been raised on social media. We're still addressing those. And my hope is that the various social media addresses that have IDs that have actually come up with the story should be actually called on by the DCIO. I mean, I'm not going to tell him how to conduct his investigation, because we really need them, because they probably know the people. Right? And if the people are actually more comfortable having women leaders, I'm available. I'm in touch with Buyer Beware. You know, so for me, I think it's important that we bring this investigation to a finality. And if we are not able, because there's no complainant, we actually implement structures and systems in Kenyatta National Hospital and in every other hospital to ensure that women and children and youth and men, every patient is safe in our medical institutions. Having visited that institution, are you satisfied with the manner in which the management of the hospital have conducted or dealt with the concerns? Some have felt that the CEO has not, some have described her in a manner as either dismissive, defensive. Are you satisfied with how she's handled this whole incident? Because responsibility, the buck ends with her. Let me tell you what, the buck, obviously she's the CEO, the buck ends with her. That's what we want to say and what we want to believe. But there are also certain constraints sometimes that prevent a CEO from effectively performing their job. Now, without the complainant to know where the failures were, it's difficult. I know that the CEO, first of all, is a woman. She's also a mother. I've met her and actually dealt with her on a number of incidences when I was trying to release the detained patients. She was on vacation, but she was picking the calls, answering the calls. And when she saw this outcry in the social media, she actually reported to work while she's not supposed to be at work. She has really brought effective changes in Kenyatta. But for Kenyatta to work and function properly, it needs a collective effort from from government. You know, there has to be funding. There has to be, you know, a system. Like right now, the machines are broken down. Do we fire the CEO? No. Maybe she doesn't have the money to have the machines repaired. You know, right now, we probably require all the surveillance cameras to be up and running. Does she have the money? You know, no. So do we fire her? We don't have a complainant. If there was a rape conducted by a nurse or conducted by a doctor or a patient or a visitor into the hospital, do we fire the CEO? You know, I mean, the thing is, we shouldn't be so quick to condemn each other. For me, the CEO and the staff of Kenyatta National Hospital are doing a commendable job. That referral hospital right now is dealing with more than it can handle. We need, as County of Nairobi, to ensure that all the other facilities, medical facilities in Nairobi function, and then Kenyatta, the overburden that Kenyatta has, where you have women all on the floors, you have women congested, you're actually trying to, you know, normal deliveries are going to Kenyatta. That shouldn't be the case. So we have a lot of failures in our medical institutions, and you cannot blame the CEO. For me, Lily Koros is hardworking. She's committed to her calling, which is to help build better medical facilities for the people of Kenya, and I feel we should give her a chance. Maybe she didn't answer the question the way you want her to answer the question, because at the end of the day, she said what she said in the manner that she can say it, which is no complainant has come forth. She called the DCIO in and said, you know, investigate the matter. Let's give her a chance, because to be quite honest, I ask this because are you satisfied with some of the things she says she's done in the past to get feedback, like you know, feedback or suggestion boxes? And a lot of people are wondering, okay, suggestion boxes, you know, in Kenya, they do not have a very good reputation. A lot of people know that they are not read. You know, people don't open those boxes, for example. And when she spoke about that, there was a lot of, you know, feedback from Kenya saying, is that enough? Could more have been done? But you say, go ahead. No, you know what? There's a special. She's got a whole system of viewing complaints. She's got a whole system of complaints that come directly to the CEO. She's got complaints on every floor. But I feel what Kenyatta National Hospital does need is a 24-hour customer service call center, where people can call, and then she pays attention to where the red flags are raised. There's a lot that can be done, but it's also about budget and constraints and concerns. Now that we have this issue, I think we need to have a call center that actually works. Security, you know, I keep wondering, the security in Kenyatta is pretty tight in a way, because if you had about 400 patients that were detained, if the security wasn't tight, those patients would have walked out one by one. Okay, so at the end of the day, the fact that they stayed there for months, 5 months, 9 months, 10 months, and that's another thing. Also, maybe at the time when somebody was being raped, if the allegations proved to be correct, that it did happen, because unless you have a complainant, you can't really verify that fact. That's correct. But for me, even without a complainant, let's address the issues. When you have a man that's detained in the hospital for over 5 months and is not able to go out, and obviously he's got his own needs, right? Maybe he will step the line. When you have criminals also in hospital and they're not manned because we don't have sufficient police force, and they are walking around as well, you can have these situations. So I think this is something that we need to look at as a country going forward. Crime is not just in the national hospitals. Crime is everywhere. You're seeing it in the streets of Nairobi, where women are having their earrings snatched out. We do have a problem with crime, and we need to address unemployment. We need to address the effectiveness of our police force, the effectiveness of the surveillance cameras that we have in institutions and on the highways. Okay. Thank you so much, Honorable Passaris, for giving us your time this morning and for sharing your thoughts as well. And of course, we wait to see what information the Director of Criminal Investigation gives out, even as investigations take place at the nation's largest teaching and referral hospital. Thank you so much, Honorable Passaris. Well, let's remind our viewers of course, this particular story. The Directorate of Criminal Investigation yesterday dispatched officers at the Kenyatta National Hospital to probe rape allegations at the facility. Hassan Mugambi gives us more details.
Security guards were first on the interrogation queue as detectives dispatched from the Directorate of Criminal Investigation began probing the allegations of rape and sexual harassment at the Kenyatta National Hospital. The team, instituted by the new DCI boss George Kinoti, summoned persons of interest at the Upper Hill police station, where they were grilled for the better part of the day. The detectives seeking to know whether those allegations had been reported to their seniors and what action, if any, had been taken. Sources privy to the probe intimating that the team is aiming at making arrests by the end of the week after establishing lapses on the hospital operations. The detectives also visited mothers at the maternity ward who are said to be the victims of sexual harassment in the facility. The officers are also expected to go through hours of CCTV footage, despite the hospital administration claiming the surveillance system had not captured anything suspicious.
There is not a single complaint that has been registered on such a case. Not a single one. And we have suggestion boxes in the whole hospital. The team has a week before it presents its finding to the DCI boss, after which the file will be presented to the Director of Public Prosecution for action. The DCI swung into action after a public hue and cry following allegations that mortuary attendants have been assaulting new mothers at night. It is alleged that the attendants attack the mothers as they go to breastfeed their children at the nursery. It is the second team that is investigating the claims after Health Cabinet Secretary Cleopa Mailu directed the hospital to probe the allegations and give a detailed report latest Monday. The Sabina Shege-led Parliamentary Committee on Health has also called on mothers who might have fallen victim to the criminals to provide the committee with information as it embarks on writing a raft of recommendations following a fact-finding mission at the referral facility Saturday. The rogue morgue attendants and hundreds of homeless people seeking refuge at the facility have been blamed for the fluid security situation at Kenyatta National Hospital. Hassan Mugambi, Citizen TV.
Well, in addition to that story, last night on Citizen TV Sunday Live, Hussein Mohammed had an exclusive interview with Kenyatta National Hospital CEO Lily Koros. Let's listen briefly to what she had to say in last night's interview.
Now that you said the damning and untrue social media report is authored in bad faith and the members of the public of goodwill need to ignore this. You said that.
I did.
As the CEO of Kenyatta National Hospital, doing an internal probe, who is to trust that probe? Because you have already taken a position and said these are untrue. Who is to trust the findings of that probe now?
Now, I'll say this. You know, the probe you're doing is based on documentation, isn't it?
Which you already said you haven't received any complaints. So
far, the complaints are the ones that I've talked about. But there could be other ways and means by talking to the victims, or rather the people who are concerned. However, even if my report may not be believed, so to say, I think there is a body that is going to give a comprehensive report thereafter.
Well, joining us in studio to talk a little bit about what has been one of the most discussed stories this weekend, of course, even as investigations continue. Let me introduce my guest in studio now. From the far right, Teresa Omondi, Executive Director with FIDA. Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
And right next to her, we have Stephen Butere, who is the NEC member at the Kenya National Union of Nurses. Welcome to the program as well.
Thank you very much.
Dr. Evelyn Shege, Deputy National Treasurer, KMPDU. Karibu sana. And right here next to me, Wanjiru Kiusa, maternal health champion and founder of Still a Mom at Still a Mom KE. You can go online to find out more about what she does there. Thank you to each of you finding time to be here with us. And of course, I want to get your initial thoughts about a discussion that a lot of Kenyans are torn about. What is the truth? What are the facts? But more importantly, what needs to be done moving forward? Teresa, let me start with you. Your reaction, you've seen the story. You've heard what Honorable Pasaris has to say. You've heard what the CEO, Lily Koros, has to say as well. What is your take?
First, I just want to say this is an opportunity for Kenyans to make corrections. Because as it is, yes, we are still looking for women who it happened to them. And I want just to say that it is very difficult to get a sexual violence victim or survivor to speak out, especially when the whole nation is waiting to say, who is this? You know, like everyone now knows there are women who were raped at Kenyatta. I'm sure even if it was me, this might not be the time for me to say, here I am, it happened to me. Because everybody's watching, everybody's waiting to cast aspersion, everybody's waiting to attack and all that. So for now, that might hold for a bit, because we'll want things to calm down, and I'm sure one woman or so would come out if this happened. But moving forward, this is an opportunity for change at Kenyatta.
Okay.
I mean, how is it that children are in the nursery, first floor, and mothers who've just delivered move from third floor, even moving.
They have to pass through several different departments to actually get to their children.
I had my daughter at one of the Nairobi hospitals, and even moving across from one opposite section to it's an exercise in itself. So I'm just imagining third floor to first floor or ground floor or wherever. Time to change. Yes, I had her yesterday saying it has been a structural issue. That's how it has been. But I'm glad she's noticed that, and I'm sure everyone else who supervises her or whoever she reports to can now make the right decision to make such changes. That's just one of the changes needed. Security. Come on. Nowadays, even people have nanny cams in their house. The government can do better. They can get better cameras on those corridors if we still have to stick to those corridors. There are issues of also security. We can afford a security firm if probably we don't have enough police forces or whatever. All that can be done. Then lastly, is it time to reevaluate our resources? Is it time maybe to buy more laptops? Is it time to put so much money in SGR and maybe forget about our women? Where are we taking our resources in this country? And is this a priority?
Okay, you've raised some interesting questions which I will, delve into a bit later on, but let me get Stephen's reaction right now.
Thank you very much. I will say that this is a good opportunity, especially in the not only in the Kenyatta National Hospital, but all the health institutions in Kenya. In the past, we have been having cases of insecurity, like 3 years ago in Pumwan Hospital, where the nurses were accused of stealing a baby. And
we've also had cases, I think, in Mwingi, like 2 years ago, and of course one also in Westlands recently, that also caught many by shock.
Where goons enter into health facilities and attack the workers. The security is not about only the workers in that institution, but also all the users in that institution. Now that there are allegations, we are treating them as allegations. But really, the voices, without those voices being heard or scrutinized, we cannot get anywhere. Like Kenyatta National Hospital, where I work, I used to work before I was dismissed for voicing out such ailments in the institution.
Which year was this?
This is 2013, in December. I am a representative of the workers, the nurses in particular, specifically nurses. I'm the secretary there. But when I tried to bring up some issues affecting the workers and the patient there, congestion, facilities, some equipment not working, and there are so many other issues, I was dismissed. Up to now, I'm out the 4th year outside the case is in court. But we have serious problems there, where employees try to raise such issues, they are dismissed, intimidated, and sacked. We have many examples. Seth Panyako, my general secretary in the Nurses Union, trying to raise all those issues of corruption, where the institution supports a union which don't voice the issues of the workers.
They only want to work with those who are friendly.
They want to work with the Kudeya, specifically to name it, Kudeya, which is a domestic workers union.
Okay, okay.
And the nurses have their professional union, and they have, up to date, they have not allowed us to have a recognition agreement so that we can be bringing up issues like this.
Okay.
And when you try to bring them, we have a policy in the institution which does not allow an employee to appear even on the camera. That is curtailing, or that is inconsistent with the Constitution of Kenya, where the freedom of expression, freedom of speech.
Okay, okay. Yes. So we need to take a look, of course, not just at Kenyatta, but our own institutions as well. I'll come back to you to get more. Dr. Shege, let me get your thoughts now as well, even as we talk about Kenyatta National Hospital. On one hand, you get the feeling that Kenyans are baying for blood, but investigations must happen. Proof must be found, etc. What's your take?
Okay. Good morning once again. So now on this issue, it's an ongoing investigation. Like the Women's Rep of Nairobi County actually said that there's no complainant. And as she has said, that during this time when there's a lot of media, there's a lot of watching, seeing who is this woman who will come out and actually say that it happened to me. I'm a victim of these allegations, and this is what happened to me. This is my story. No one, I wouldn't think anybody would come out right now. But there are mechanisms of reaching out to these ladies who, if this happened to them, and we are very sorry about that, I am very sympathetic to them, that she has delivered, whichever method, through the normal delivery or through a surgery, and then this happened to her. And then she has a baby in nursery. Having a baby in nursery means that's a sick child. Having a sick child, so you can imagine her body, whatever is going through physically, and then emotionally, and then also she's here worried about her child who is in nursery. So if this has happened, there are so many people out there who want to help you, and all the other ladies as well. Now it brings us back to the thing about budgetary allocation, that the health cake, yeah, is very big, yeah, and the resources to make this big cake is very little, yeah. So now, even in terms of priority, will I prioritize in terms of salaries, in terms of drugs, in terms of bed space, in terms of technology, and also now in terms of infrastructure, because for so long mothers have stayed on ground floor, first floor, and then their babies now are on the upper floors. So now having to walk all that, remember also she's in pain, it's not a good feeling. It's not a good thing that has happened and it has been going on. But that it has come to light right now is a good thing, and we'll have the necessary changes. But let's not politicize this. If they
you fear that may happen?
That may happen, because the politicians are the ones who decide the amount of money that will go into the various pockets and various dockets. Now, if we are having less money going in there, Obviously, there are bad elements in the community. There are bad elements in the society. And they will take advantage of these vulnerable people in the society. Now, we don't know who it is. I've worked with people in mortuary. As you know, some of the allegations is the morticians and what have you. These men and women come from families. They come from somewhere. So just because mortuary, you know, the taboo and the cultural, you know, about the mortuary, how it is, then we can always blame the morticians. We can always, I mean, it takes a certain sort of heart to work with dead bodies. I'm a pathologist by profession, so I deal with also that. Will I be called as a rapist? Will I be victimized because of the nature of work that I do? Because people don't understand. People get their livelihood through that, but let's not just throw around these things, yeah? And again, I say, there are victims of sexual violence, yeah, and it is happening within our homes, within the communities, and just not Kenyatta. If it has happened in Kenyatta, it is for us now to make sure that the necessary investigation happens, yeah, and not just internally within Kenyatta, and also the DCI has been invited, and let us wait for their report that will come out on Friday.
Let's wait for the report and see what will happen. Wanjiru, I want the same reaction from you, but I also want us to narrow this discussion down. If even 1% of these allegations are true, and even if the allegations are not true and if that is proven, nevertheless the issues that women face at Kenyatta, what does that say about us as a society? That it took us until January going into February 2018 for these things to be brought to light, when we can see a lot of complaints going back 2016, 2015. What does that say about us as media, us as stakeholders, politicians, about us as a nation?
I think we are quite complacent until something jots us into some sort of activity, and that is really, really unfortunate, because as somebody who supports parents who have lost children, now I hear a lot of things from Kenyatta, Pumwani and Mama Lucy. That's majority of the ladies who we support in Still a Mom come from those facilities. And those security allegations are actually quite true. I have had people write to me
even before Friday.
Even before Friday, of being referred. She delivered somewhere else. She is now being referred to Kenyatta. So the baby has gotten nursery space. She has not gotten space. So she sleeps in the car, in the parking lot, yeah, and she has to go breastfeed her baby in the nursery every 3 hours. And it's not safe. It's dark outside. So this is, like they're saying, this is somebody who's probably had surgery. Now she has had to have an ambulance ride to the hospital because her baby's life is in danger. And now finally she has been able to get admission at the ICU, the newborn unit. But now she cannot get bed space. Okay? So she's sleeping in the car. And
or on the corridor. Or on the corridor. Car, whatever.
Exactly. I have actually had some mothers say they had come along with their husbands for the walk to breastfeed their children. So this is not something that just came out of nowhere. It's been going on. It's just that it came on social media and it caught fire. Yeah, but like she said, it's something that requires us to really self-search as a nation. It could be issues of budget allocations, but the idea is we should not look at it in a political thing. We should just sit around and say, so what do we do?
Okay.
Yeah, but we really need to do something.
Okay. Yeah. We're not doing too well on time, but I want to get a few more thoughts from you. Teresa, let me come to you. FIDA has offered to provide legal advice. Tell us the structure, the format, and how people can reach you should they have any complaints in regards to the same.
So first, to the survivors or the victim of this rape, FIDA Kenya offices, we have 3 offices in Kenya, Kisumu, Nairobi, and Mombasa, because I know these women would be coming from wherever. And we open 8 to 1 for any new clients, but for these clients we'll even give specific consideration. Come anytime we are open between 8 to 5. We'll provide legal advice. And even if I want to encourage that when time is right, even one woman will give us a case action for compensation for any others who have, because it takes only one person to step forward and the rest will come. We promise them confidentiality. I know this is the difficult point of view. There will always be all judgments. Even now FIDA will be judged at that point on whether we can sustain confidentiality or not. But I want to promise the women out there that we are capable of. We've helped, like the Pumwani case you've had, it took one woman to come out, and to date, no one is being detained in Pumwani for delivery, after delivery. They know, even Kenyatta used to detain women after delivery for not paying. And just a letter from FIDA changes things. So something can change. We just need just one woman who can come out. And lastly, in terms of legal advice to Kenyatta, like we've raised several issues that need reforms. there are legal legislation
You've
in
raised
this country.
Between Friday and today, or before?
Even before.
Even before,
yeah,
okay.
Because like what we are dealing with now is not only the rape, but we've mentioned so many reform issues that need to take place at Kenyatta. And I want also the CEO to look at this as an opportunity, because I know sometimes you might really want to say something, but because just like the woman rep has said, sometimes you're not capable of, but that's why FIDA and other organizations are here to speak out for you then.
Okay.
So we'll speak out, we'll give the legal advice, and we'll look at even, like when budgets are being done, let them pass the information to us. We'll raise those issues for them, so that we also don't say, I am in this position, but my hands are tied.
Okay.
There are many organizations that don't fear, they'll speak out for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me bring Stephen in. You say you've been advocating for the rights of nurses and for better facilities in hospitals since 2013. That we're talking about, what, 4 years ago or five years ago.
Yes.
I don't know if you've seen the changes that you've been fighting for, but my question to you is, what happens next week or the week after when Kenyans forget about what happened at Kenyatta National Hospital? How can pressure be sustained to ensure that the reforms that are being discussed today will still be of note to our politicians and to people who can make a difference, you know, in a couple of months from today? Because we've seen a trend in Kenya. What's big on Monday, this Monday will not be big in the first week of February. How do we keep that pressure up?
Okay, on my position, in fact, I will assure you that as a union, we are mounting pressure specifically on our policy about security in our health institutions.
So you want to focus on that?
We are focusing on that.
Okay.
And we have already petitioned, or we have approached several offices. We have asked the Nursing Council of Kenya to assist us. We have already asked the Office of the Director of Nursing Services at Afya House to assist us, and at least come up with a security policy, which has never been there. And nobody has ever cared about security of our workers and even the patient in our institutions. It has never been taken seriously. Now the issue is emerging, and let's take it as an opportunity, at least, even for the parliamentarians and the politicians. The way forward is to involve all the stakeholders, and especially the budgetary allocation, and see how much we can support our institutions and make our working environment safe. For example, if you visit Kenyatta National Hospital at night, in fact, and during the day is when you'll see, at least those who visit, they will see a face what they could be able to see. But if you go there at night, you'll be sure to see that the security officers are not adequate in all the floors.
Okay. So once the shift changes, people go home, and a smaller team is left.
Those are the areas that we at least need to address. The security issue, the issue which has arose about rape, we don't know about the truth of it, but let's take that opportunity and address the underlying solutions.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Before I get a reaction from Dr. Shege, I don't know if we have the other clip, part of the interview by Kenyatta National Hospital CEO Lily Koroso. We'll come to that shortly. When we talk about free maternal health care in 2018, on one hand, and on the other hand, we have allegations like these, and even though the allegations of rape have not been proven, nevertheless, a lot of issues at Kenyatta National Hospital, and a lot of the other hospitals as well, have come to light. What does this then say? Can we say that people are really enjoying free maternal health care in 2018, or is that still more a term than actual reality, Dr. Hari?
So free maternal health care is ongoing, yes, and people are enjoying free maternal health care. You will see that majority of these ladies perhaps even delivered given free services, but it takes money to do that. When we say free, it's not completely free. There's
so it
a
should
cost.
Be subsidized maternal health care.
That should be the word, yeah. That's the real coin of the word, because, I mean, gloves that were used, the delivery packs, that has a cost to it. But remember, Kenyatta National Hospital is a referral hospital. So if our referral systems also have broken down, that we are having like primary healthcare sort of services being provided in a tertiary hospital, where we need to have Mama Lucy having a majority of these cases that cannot, if they cannot be handled, then they be referred to Kenyatta National Hospital. And remember, every county is also referring to Kenyatta National Hospital. Remember, there's only so much Kenyatta National Hospital can do. And remember, if in the private institutions, if the bed space is to capacity, we say, fine, we are not going to admit anymore. Kenyatta cannot close its doors, yes? So if Kenyatta is not able to close its doors, where we, I mean, this, we can't allow so much. There's only so much.
Something will have to give.
It's something we'll have to give. And that's what we should all remember out there. That even in the decision-making processes, that Mama Lucy, Mbagathi, Pumwani, and all those perhaps now should be upgraded to level 5 hospitals and be able to do some of these things. And now leave Kenyatta to be highly specialized, because the skill is there, the patients are there, but the resources are the ones that are few. And now if we are having, if we are going, because like, I mean, like nursery, unless it's like for specialized cardiac or something that really needs some high level of expertise, this can be taken care of in our level 5 hospitals, rather than coming and then we are only leaving the Kenyatta National Hospital or even MTRH to be the ones to do like the highly specialized things. Like today morning, I know for sure there is a team, a urology team, that is doing a very big surgery that even in the medical circle, I mean, it's a big feat.
It's groundbreaking.
It is. So now here we have ladies whose children are in nursery, and then, I mean, those are things that can be taken care of at a level 5 hospital, if they have the expertise at that level. So as much as devolution has happened, but we are not devolving the funds equally as is needed in the healthcare institution.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wanjiru, I'm coming to you shortly. We have that clip now. Can we just run another excerpt from the interview last night by Kenya National Hospital CEO Lily Koros?
In your statement you said this, and this is very, I mean, from how you said it, and I'll read it to you. You said the damning and untrue social media reports is authored in bad faith, and the members of public of goodwill need to ignore. KNH management and staff wish to assure patients and relatives that their security and medical care is our priority. You say the damning and untrue. You have already judged them as being untrue.
Hussein, I want to say that by the time I was saying this, I was saying from the information that we had. In case there will be any other information, I think that will still be fine. We would actually step it up to that point. But from what we had seen, and as I said, and this actually at some point I felt like coming with my files. I have very big files on these issues.
On these issues of sexual harassment and rape?
No. On complaints. The general complaints of the hospital.
Okay.
And we actually take them so seriously that I chair one of the committees. There is a committee that is chaired by the corporate affairs, which handles the general complaints. I handle the complaints that may be touching on a bit of integrity. And we have to investigate every single complaint and give feedback to the customers. And I think I was speaking from this point of view. I don't think I was wrong at that point. And that's why I said, if there's anything that is hidden, then let's give the authorities that are relevant the opportunity to investigate. Okay. And when they come up, we will take action. And I believe it's in my statement.
Wanjiru, I can get a reaction. I don't know if you got a chance to watch the whole interview last night. Again, and speaking to Honorable Pasari, she felt that, wait, give the CEO a chance. She has seen her working, very well in the past for the hospital, and she thinks Kenyans should give the CEO a chance. Nevertheless, a lot of other people saying, listen, this feedback from the hospital could have been done differently. There could have been a more compassionate note. What is your response to that, especially because you spend a lot of time on social media educating Kenyans, trying to demystify a lot of things, and many feel that the way she's handled this incident has raised room for concern?
Actually, I'm with you on that. I think she could have gone a direction of compassion and a bit of love, because it is very difficult to share issues of sexual harassment in any platform, and so people use social media to do so, including I get so many feedback, so much feedback on issues like Kenyatta, Pumwani, Mbagathi. not only because on Mama Lucy, not just because of sexual harassment, but even because of negligence. By the time somebody comes out to say something, they are really, really pained. And also, please remember that this is somebody who just has a child. They have so many things they could be doing. And there was also the issue of why didn't they come forward earlier. Really, I mean, I just had a baby. I want to go home and be discharged and go to breastfeed my child. And when one person talked about it, all these other people came out to speak about it. So yes, it could have been handled differently. Don't tell us about suggestion boxes, please. I mean, this is the era of social media. That is our suggestion box. We have come here.
Consider that as a suggestion box.
Yes, this is us telling you that things are not right. And yes, I get it. The issues of resources, she's constrained. And I mean, this is a lot of pressure being put on her. But definitely come out with a little bit more compassion. Nobody would just be out here to ruin the reputation of Kenyatta. I don't know whether it actually has any at the moment. Yeah.
Okay. As I mentioned, we're out of time. But you look like you had a final comment, even on a reaction to what the CEO had to say, even as we wind up this discussion.
Yeah, actually, I watched the whole interview yesterday. I saw the struggle, but I just want this to retaliate again what she said. Please do not say, out of all of you who are there, none of you has come out. That's a very unfortunate statement. Yeah. Knowing even post-election violence, we have so many women. They come out
today, maybe have not come out or came out.
Yes, and when they talk about it even 10 years later. And so let's be glad that it happened maybe in 2015 and someone is already having the courage to speak about it, or 2016. So this statement of none of you had the courage to come forward and report the matter was a very unfortunate statement.
Okay.
Maybe it's out of pressure. Yes, we can see. I can only imagine if I was the CEO then and everyone now is saying, look at what you've done, knowing very well it's not all her fault. But I think compassion and being considerate to the survivors is a better way to go.
We might have had a different discussion this morning. Thank you so much, Teresa Mondi, FEED Executive Director, for finding time to be here with us. Stephen Butere, NEC member, Kenya National Union of Nurses. We hope that what we are hearing now will help push some of the reforms that you have been fighting for since 2013. Yes. Dr. Evelyn Shega, Deputy National Treasurer, KMPDU, for shedding light on what happens in the hospital. And of course, Wanjiru Kihusa, maternal health champion and founder of Still a Mom Kenya. Thank you to each of you for finding time to be here with us. Even now, as we take a quick break, we just want to tell you a little bit about a function that is happening right now at the Hilton Hotel. The Law Society of Kenya is holding a colloquium on the 2017 presidential election petitions. Some of the speakers are expected to give remarks there include Honorable David Maraga, Chief Justice and President of the Supreme Court, among others. There will be panel discussions as well, and so we'll be taking you live to that function a bit later on. But now you're watching Citizen Extra. We take a quick break. When we return, we'll also be having that one-on-one discussion with government spokesperson David Kiraithe. He will be joining us to talk about various issues. We'll be right back.